lose homes and vehicles and assets that got passed down because in a legislative law trust, you get. Why is it important to have a trust that is discretionary? Because discretionary power means that you get to make all of the decisions. It means that within the corpus of the trust, it outlines all of the decision-making power that the trustee has. Here's an example of using discretion. Our trust is only going to pay taxes when you distribute income, meaning money is going to leave the environment of the trust and go somewhere, go back into the matrix, go to an individual or a C Corp or an S Corp. Having discretionary power means that at the end of the year, when you go to file your taxes, you get to decide if you make a distribution or not. See, on any government trust, they force you to do it. It's called a forced distribution. When you die, you avoid probate and all that, right? But then the trustee is going to give all those assets out based on your wishes. And then as family members receive that gift, they have to pay taxes on it. This is why a lot of families lose homes and vehicles and assets that got passed down because in a legislative law trust, you get So one of the questions that I've been getting lately is, how is it legal to not pay taxes? Well, I'll tell you that if you're operating as an individual, an S Corp, C Corp, an LLC, a 501c, those are all government entities. And when you operate out of a government entity, you have to follow all the rules and regulations. For example, when you were born and they issued you a birth certificate and a social security card, they created the individual, right? Then they wrote the rules on how the individual has to pay taxes. They did the same thing with the LLC, the C Corps, the S Corps, every product that the government has ever created, they regulate it with regulations. If you have the proper type of trust, where the Supreme Court has ruled that this particular type of trust is not subject to the myriad of rules and regulations set forth by the legislature, then you can operate legally outside of the regulations. Remember, regulations are not law.
Most people just...
I tell anybody that I'm coaching that you can't quit. If you don't quit anything, you'll never fail, you know? And that's another thing I don't believe in either, is failure. I just believe failures are quitters. That's it. If somebody tells me I failed at something, I go, okay, you're just a quitter. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. So I would say to anybody that's scared to make this move, I was scared to make this move, but do your homework. Ask questions. I mean, have you ever asked why you believe what you believe about anything? Why do we believe what we believe financially? Why do we believe that we have to do things a certain way? Why do we believe that we have to pay a certain amount of taxes? Why do we believe that we have to have an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp? Why do we have to believe we have to go to church? Why do we have to believe that we have to eat this certain food? My challenge to anyone that's scared to do this is start to ask questions. And now, me not being in real estate, how is it? Because I know right now we live in some crazy. Telling the carrier, look, don't give me the whole 150. I just want you to give me 30. That way when my client opens up their bank, they have $120,000 available right away the first year. Now I know I'm going to keep my client, and my client actually has a bank now versus an insurance policy. Because I'm not selling it to them for a death benefit. My clients are coming to me because they want to park their money in there, but they want access to it. They want to be able to leverage that money to go create a business, to go build wealth. You can't build wealth and you can't have a bank if it's not making money. Banks make money. Banks don't lose money. So that's why most insurance agents don't know how to do this. Telling the carrier, hey, what's up everybody? I want to share a quick story about someone who follows me because this is the reason why I do what I do. First business. We built it in 9 countries. I traveled all over the world. I was in Australia, I was in Africa, I was in Jamaica. So the reason why wealthy people don't just go buy life insurance is because they don't need it. When you're wealthy, you don't need to go shop for a death benefit. Wealthy people use banking policies. Our strategy is taking all of the wealth that you're generating right now, putting it into the trust, running it through a properly constructed whole life policy with a mutual company that pays dividends so that you insure your income. Wealthy people understand that time is money. When you put your money in a whole life policy, you can borrow that money right back out with no interruption of interest or growth, right? These policies compound annually where you're earning interest on every dollar that you put into that account. And the carriers will allow you to borrow that money back out, almost pretending that you didn't even borrow it. And now it's going to put your family in a position where every time somebody dies, your family gets wealthier. So think about what you have to do to manage your LLC or your C Corp. There's a lot of gray area, right? You got accountants that'll literally put you in the gray area, right? Where you're like worry, oh man, if I get audited, I hope they don't see that I did that. The reason you have to do that is because you're playing a shady game and you have to sometimes kind of walk the line a little bit because we feel like the tax system's not fair. The beauty about the trust is it's clear cut and straightforward. This is a trust expense, this is not. What's the difference? Food, fun, and fashion for you personally, or it's something for the trust. If the trust owns the home, all those expenses are for the trust. If the trust owns a business, all of those expenses belong to the trust. If the trust owns a car, all of those expenses belong to the trust. So the whole key to this thing is to set the trust up, get everything out of your own individual identity into a vehicle that you control, where you make all the decisions, but you don't own it. That is the key, folks, is that you can't own things, especially in today's world. Think about what you have to do to manage your LLC.